Welcome everybody back to another episode of Weekly Night Thoughts or Tuesday Night Thoughts. Basically, we are going to be breaking down what's happened in free agency recently and seeing what's going to happen further in the future of free agency. We're going to talk about some winners, some losers thus far, and then the best fits and the worst fits. And then who signs Kawhi? Who is going to sign Kawhi? So let's start out with the winners of free agency. Who is the biggest winner of free agency? And when I wanted to say the Brooklyn Nets were the biggest winners of free agency, I had to stop myself. And that is solely because what if KD doesn't come back right? What if the Warriors, or what if Kyrie isn't a good enough leader while he's gone? They end up having some trouble. So basically, I had to figure this out. Why are the Brooklyn Nets the biggest winners? Because they are. The Brooklyn Nets are the biggest winners of free agency. They got they got two superstars and a very solid player with it. DeAndre Jordan, KD, and Kyrie. So why are they the biggest winners despite all these things that could happen? Well, they already have a very young core. They do. Dinwiddie, Karis Leverts, and that Jared Allen, that whole group from last year made the playoffs with a young D'Angelo Russell. And while I do think they should have kept D'Angelo Russell, it just wasn't in the cards. So what is the move? Why are they the winners? Because they got KD and Kyrie. That is just in the possibilities that could go into that alone. They are the winners of free agency. So they are the big winners so far. Let's not forget that the Warriors handled losing KD in the best way possible. Not only did they lock up Klay Thompson, they also signed D'Angelo Russell. Like, what? So he will be replacing Klay Thompson until Klay Thompson comes back. And then I think he will probably either be traded or or they will run a 3-guard set, which could be bad, but it could also possibly be something special. A small ball lineup could be extremely useful for them. Not only that, but the Warriors did also sign Willie Cauley-Stein, which is a solid center. And it'll be fun to see how they use him in the coming weeks, months, and throughout his whole contract, really. So another winner of free agency was Al Horford. And he is the first player that we have listed as a winner. And it should not go lightly. Man solidified a 4-year, $109 million contract with what could be a top 3 team in the East next year. Without Toronto in the picture, if Kawhi leaves, then you see that Philly could be the next big destination. You have Joel Embiid, who's taking up the 5 spot, so you don't have to worry about rebounding too much as Al Horford. What he is going to be used for is a defensive presence and a solid scorer. Not only that, but they also have a very large lineup. You also have Josh Richardson, I believe he's 6'7" at the 2, and then you have Tobias Harris 6'8", 6'9" at the 3. That is a big lineup you got there. And not only is Horford a winner of this free agency so far, so are the 76ers, to be completely honest. Next winner we have is Kemba Walker. Kemba Walker got himself out of the worst situation in the league. See, the Suns might be bad, but they have a lot of young talent and potential to look at. The Knicks might be bad, but they have a lot of cap space to look at and some young talent. Then a bunch of teams, they may be bad, But they have stuff looking up. The Charlotte Hornets are the one bad team that have nothing to look forward to. Their cap space is very low. They don't have very much young potential outside of outside of Dwayne Bacon and Miles Bridges and maybe P.J. Washington. They don't have they're stuck in bad contracts. They have a bad GM. They have a bad owner. As much as I hate to say it, Michael Jordan is not a very good owner. They don't ever get good draft picks. So he got himself out of the worst situation in the league. The rebuild, if they rebuilt with Kemba Walker at the helm, they would not be able to. They would be rebuilding for well past Walker's prime, and I have a firm belief that they would not make the playoffs. A lot in that time. So he got himself out of there into a playoff team to replace Kyrie, and I think he's going to be a better fit. I think he's going to be like what Isaiah Thomas was for the Celtics, a 28-point-per-game guy. I think that Kemba can be exactly that, if not better. They can be a good team. They will be a great team. And the Hornets are also very big winners because they don't have to decide whether to commit to Kemba. They have a full-blown rebuild underway, so they have to outlast these bad contracts, Nick Batum, Marvin Williams, Bismack Biyombo. They have to get rid of all of them. They cannot re-sign any of them. They have to just make sure that they're gone. Then they have some good talent right there, like the Malik Monk, Dwayne Bacon, P.J. Washington, Devontae Graham. They do have some young talent, but they have to use it, and they have to make sure they're using it well. So the Hornets are actually winners of this free agency. They did sign Terry Rozier to a very large contract that – why? That was just a bad move for them. But the losers include New York for obvious reasons. They had a bunch of free agency cap space, and they didn't end up getting anybody very good. The Clippers have not signed anybody with their two max slots. They had a very big draw to them, and Kawhi still might sign there, but they are the underdogs to sign Kawhi. Toronto hasn't re-signed Kawhi, and they aren't the front runners to sign him either. Brooklyn, it's intriguing because Brooklyn can be looked at as the biggest winners or the biggest losers. If Kyrie is not a very good leader, he's a terror. If he doesn't work out, and then KD doesn't come back well, they owe him a lot of money over the next few years. And if DeAndre Jordan keeps declining, then they are in a bad situation. So Brooklyn could be the winner or the big loser of this rebuild, and it's all up to chance whether KD comes back well. Because if KD does not come back well, that means Kyrie has to be the leader of that team too, and we saw what happened in Boston. He is not capable of being a leader of a championship team. Then Sacramento as well. They had a good amount of cap space going in, but they used it on average players. And they are stuck in that state where they are not a big market team. They are not a big market team, which means they do not have the draw of a LA or a New York or even a Brooklyn or a Miami even. So they don't have a draw, which means – and it's not like they're kind of mediocre right now. So they don't really have a draw to bring free agents in, which means they have to overpay for free agents to come. Such as why Harrison Barnes is securing the bag, getting a 4-year, $84 million contract. That being said, who else did they just didn't bring in anybody great to help that team. They will be good next year. I do think they'll be a playoff team. That being said, Houston has not gotten anybody, and they need to get somebody to compete. They need to either fix their chemistry issues, or they just need to get somebody straight up. And that it's just depressing looking at it because the Rockets had so much momentum going into the offseason. Like they were going to compete for a signing trade with Jimmy Butler. They were going to do all of this, and it didn't work. Now we're going to move into the best fits. I think Horford fits so well in Philly and it's they do not have a very Joel Embiid is an amazing defender, and so is Horford, and so is Simmons, and so is Richardson. They are going to be the best defensive team in the league. They are, straight up. I think they will be the best defensive team in the league, and their defensive front court is just going to be you're not getting past it. Your center is not scoring on them. The next best fit is Jimmy in Miami. They do not really have many shooters to space the floor, but now they have Tyler Herro and Jimmy Buckets to space the floor. And I do think that Jimmy Butler is the man. So since he is the man, he can finally show it. Kemba in Boston, like I said earlier, is going to be like what Isaiah Thomas was for them, and I think that's a perfect fit. DeAndre Jordan in Brooklyn, I think that's a perfect fit for him. He's sitting beside two superstars, so he can, under the radar, do some great stuff. And then my last one is Derrick Rose in Detroit. He should start. If he does not start then I will be very disappointed in my Detroit Pistons, my hometown Detroit Pistons. It'd be a problem to not start D Rose after the showing he had last year and the showing that we have seen repeatedly from Reggie Jackson. He should at least start the year. Now I have 3 bad fits, and in there was a trade that Miami did with Portland. Got rid of Whiteside's huge contract for Myers Leonard and Maurice Harkless, I believe. So Whiteside is one of the worst fits to put in Portland. There is a place where he wants to be a top 2 scorer. He was not that in Miami, and he did not really put in effort when he wasn't given minutes. So that being said, I don't think that he's going to do the same thing with Portland. I think he's just going to be the same thing he was in Miami, which is an overpaid 12-point-per-game center. The next is Kyrie in Brooklyn, which is why they were listed as one of the biggest losers as well as the biggest winners, because I don't like the fit. Especially if KD does not come back right, then I do not like the fit at all. And then the next worst fit was D'Angelo Russell in Golden State. What was the point of this signing? What was it? They don't need another guard. Running a small ball set just hurts your defense, which has already been lacking recently. Draymond Green is really their only great defender outside of Klay Thompson, who is an amazing defender, but he's going to be out. So you're going to be, until Klay Thompson comes back, you're going to be leaning on Draymond Green for all your defensive needs. All right, one more section left. Who is going to sign Kawhi? From the sources that have talked to me, we have discussed that the Lakers are the front runner for Kawhi, while the Toronto Raptors are his backup. So LA is the front runner, and the Lakers are his front runner, and I think it's obvious. And then Toronto's the backup, going right back there. And then the underdog who emerged as the front runner at the beginning of the season was LA Clippers, and now they are the underdog, the least likely to get him. Where should he go? He should go, if he wants a title, he should go to LA Lakers. If he wants to keep competitive, he should go to the Clippers. And then if he wants to be loyal, then he goes back to Toronto. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Peace. Oopsies.